Hey, what's up guys, it's Yen. So it's the time of the year again and classes will be opening soon, so I decided to make this video to share my experiences during my freshie year as a medical technology student in UST. So this is basically an online edition. Also, since one of my TikTok videos boomed, a lot of people are asking me for some tips and advice on how to get through freshman year. So here it is. Everything that I will be saying in this video is solely based on my experience, and since face-to-face is different from online classes, what I will be telling you guys is my experience during online classes. So without further ado, let's get started. So tip number one is to choose your friends wisely. Your circle of friends in college can have a huge impact on how you deal with every situation you'll encounter in college. Your college friends can also play a big role in your life. They are the people whom you spend your whole college years with and maybe the years after college. If you've already built a certain friendship and bond with each other, since you're an incoming freshman student and it's online classes, I know that it's difficult to somehow get to know each other since most of your blockmates will be new people from different places. But in my experience, I didn't find it that hard to find my friends, my college friends, because most of the time our professors would group us alphabetically, so most of the time I get to work with the same people. So in that way, eventually we just built the friendship and closeness among each other. Like right now, even though we don't have classes, we still talk to each other and bond with each other, like we play and watch movie together. I am happy to find friends like them. It's important that you choose friends who has the same interests as you so that you get along well. It's important to choose friends that has the same goal as you, those who are goal-oriented, those who study hard, those who have good sense of humor, because in that way you'll have a great support system, and that is really important in these times. Like we don't get to talk to each other physically. Sometimes it feels very lonely that you're just there sitting in front of your laptop. But if you have this support system, even if you don't see each other, you can talk to each other through chat or you can video call each other, and you have your friends studying with you. It's really a great feeling if you have someone who knows your struggle, whom you can share your struggle so that you can rant with each other and you got each other's back. And if you don't understand something in the lesson, you can ask them for help. So it's a great way to cope up with everything that's happening. So yeah, choose your friends wisely. Choose your friends who has a good influence in you. Choose your friends who will bring out the best in you. Tip number two is to take down notes. Be it in face-to-face classes or in online classes, it's important that you do jot down notes. Professors would usually tell us additional information that would be helpful for us, not only right now when answering examinations, but also for the future. If you have synchronous sessions during online classes, listen to whatever your professor is saying. And if there are asynchronous sessions, like they just provide recorded discussions, I would suggest that you still watch it. I also recommend making reviewers or transcripts about your discussions because it would be really helpful when major examinations come. Sometimes you won't have that enough time to read your book from cover to cover. Sometimes reading your transcript is already enough, so I suggest that you make one for yourself or for your block. In our case, we share transcripts from different blocks. So what my seniors are doing is that they make transcripts for the whole block. They divide their block into different groups, and each group will be assigned to a certain subject. For example, for this particular group, they have 5 members, and that video and that recorded discussion is about 1 hour long. So you can divide that 1 hour into 5 members so that you'll just be taking down notes for 12 minutes, so it would be easier for all of you. It won't take up too much time, and you will be able to save time for you to be able to do other things. By doing that, I think it is more effective, because sometimes professors would give out recorded discussions which are very long, and in my case it takes up too much of my time, because you still have to figure out what are they saying, you have to type it, you have to lay out and everything. So if you have other people who can help you in taking down notes, then take that opportunity. Sometimes 1 hour video, it takes me 3 hours or 4 hours depending on what subject it is, especially for anatomy, physiology, histology. There are a lot of terms that you don't know yet. There are a lot of technical terms, so you still have to figure out what is my professor saying, because you don't know it yet. There are also times that professors would give you lots of videos, like much longer than movies, like 3 hours or 5 hours. Additionally, in taking down notes, what I learned from my seniors is that they have a particular template, and each group will just be following that certain template so that it would be uniform. So yeah, I would say that transcripts were really helpful for me. It helped me survive my first year, and I know that it would also help me survive the coming years ahead. Tip number 3 is to manage your time wisely. So a lot of people are asking me, how do I balance everything in my life? Since I am also a content creator, I also have work to do, I also have deadlines, and of course I also have deadlines to meet in school. So they always ask me, how do I do it? How do I balance everything? And my answer is always the same. It would always be time management. Like in everything that you do, managing your time wisely is really the key. Personally, I am an organized person. I plan everything out. I keep a schedule because I don't want to just think about it, like put everything or my task just in my head. Sometimes I can forget about it, and it just gives me a feeling of satisfaction if I have this plan in front of me. I'm seeing my progress, because it motivates me to work. I plan ahead of time, like 1 week before, and if there are changes in my schedule, I change it right away because I don't want to forget about it. I don't know, I just like being an organized person. By having a plan or a schedule, you can keep track of all your requirements. You'll have an overview of the things that you have to do, of the things that you already did, and the things that you'll be doing in the future. So as what I've said, it allows you to keep track of your progress. Well, for me, if there is a schedule in front of me and I see all those things that I've already done, it motivates me to do other things as well. And if I've done something and I tick it off in my list, it just gives me a feeling of self-satisfaction, and it makes me think that I'm really productive, because I'm the type of person who really wants to be productive, and if I'm not doing anything, it feels that there's something wrong. With everything that has been said about time management, it's also important that you have a discipline. It's not enough that you have a plan or schedule in front of you and you'll just look at it but you'll not do it. So it's important that you're disciplined, you're motivated to do everything in your schedule, because it will really help you a lot if you have this kind of mindset that, I have to do this. I have to do this by the end of the day. Trust me, if you have this certain kind of schedule, you will not cram anymore, you will not procrastinate, and you will have enough time for yourself. You will have enough time to relax. That is also the reason why I do not cram or procrastinate. I want things to be done right away because I don't want to rush them. In submitting my outputs, I make sure that I don't just do them for the sake of submitting it. Yes, partially I do it to comply, but I want what I submit to be a quality one. I don't know, it's just me ever since high school. I want everything that I submit to be a good one, because I think it just reflects my personality. Apart from that, I also don't want my work or my task to pile up, because it's really stressing. Like if I see a lot of requirements and tasks to be done and I don't schedule them, my mind's just... Also, for studying, I recommend that you study in advance. Well, personally, I don't do this. I fail to do this. I want to do this, but my mindset is that I would study like 1 day before, so that weeks before that I would have time to rest, so that I can have more time to study for that. But times I regret it. Like I think I should have studied sooner so that I would have enough time to process everything. Because of course, in MedTech, you will studying a lot of things, especially in anatomy and physiology. For histology, there are lots of things that you should memorize. There are lots of concepts that you should understand. And overnight isn't enough for you to digest everything. But sometimes it works for me because it pressures my brain to work, like your brain would be pressured to take it in and understand it. Sometimes pressure is good, but there are also times now when you're too pressured, you can't understand anything because you just want everything to be finished already. You just want to finish what you're studying. So I recommend that you study in advance, like 1 week before, especially if you have major examinations, because there are a lot of information that you should analyze. So that's basically about managing your time wisely. It's all about discipline. You just have to discipline yourself to do that. Also, you have to have a goal and motivation so that you will be able to finish what you're doing. We are different people. We all have our own study technique. So just do what works best for you. Just do it your own way. Just do what you're comfortable with. So tip number 4 is to understand the lesson rather than just memorize it. So especially in MedTech, you should learn how to understand the concepts, the information, rather than just memorizing it. Because if you just memorize it, in time, in the future, you'll just forget it. Like rote memorization, it's just there. It's just there for the exam. But in the future, when you're going to apply it, forget it anymore. Unlike if you understand the lesson, you understand it by heart, it's still there in you. Even if it's 2 or 3 years, it will always be there. I'm guilty that sometimes I just tend to memorize, but I'm in the process of learning to understand it more because I would realize the importance of understanding the lesson. So I would say that read the book and understand what's in the book, because most of the professors would get examination questions in the book. Even though you've read it, sometimes you should expect out of the world questions. Like me, I read books, especially in anatomy and physiology. You really have to read the books, not just the PowerPoints and the transcripts, because sometimes it's not enough. But if you don't have enough time to study for everything the book transcripts can do already, even if I read the book, when the time of the examination comes, my mind just, I feel like I didn't study anything because all those that I've studied, poof, you're already gone because of the questions. They are really hard. So it's important that you really understand and analyze the situations, the concepts. Yeah, really expect out of the world questions. Also, self-study. Since it's online classes and you're a freshman year, there will be lessons that you've already encountered during high school. Some of the professors would assume that you already understand it because you already took it during high school. So they would not delve into it. They will not tackle it much further because they would assume that it is your responsibility to refresh or recall yourself. There will also be times that even those new lessons, you have to still study it by your own, because in my experience personally, just one time sitting and listening to your professor, especially for anaphy, histo, chemistry, you can't just digest everything all at once in one sitting. You have to read it on your own for you to be able to understand it more. Well, it's just for me. I don't know for others. You have to self-study, especially for chemistry subjects. Like in solving problems, you have to practice it. For chemistry, my tip is to understand the concept and the process on how to solve the problem. Really, repetition is the key. If you know how to solve that certain problem, it would be easier for you to understand the coming lessons because, for example, in analytical chemistry, you have to know the basics. You have to know the lesson in your high school, like in solving for molality, molarity, normality, and so on. You have to know that. And you have to understand the process of solving this problem in chapter 1 for you to be able to answer the problems in the next chapters, because they are somehow connected. And if you understand the process, just me, it would be easier for you. Yeah, it's just a matter of practicing. And for laboratories, I suggest that you participate. For us, even though it is a group work, it is important that you work with your group. Don't be a freeloader to your group, guys, especially it is online classes. I know we have our own difficulties. I know that all of us are having a hard time, so let's just be nice to each other and help each other as a group. I will also be explaining how our laboratory subjects work so that you will have an overview of how it's like to do lab activities in an online class. For anatomy and physiology, our lab mainly just focuses on answering worksheets, lots of worksheets. For chemistry, you would have lab worksheets for experiments. There would be home experiments wherein you would just use things that you can find at home, and there would also be experiments that you can do online. Like there's this website that we use in order to have that kind of laboratory experience. And as what I've said, even though it's group work, you have to work with your group mates because it's online classes. It's different from the actual experiment. So how would you know how it feels if you don't actually get to do it? Like even though it's just online, it's important for you so that you will be able to have that feels on how to do it, if you get what I mean. Like for us, I think that we lack practicals during online classes. It's different if you work in the lab, and it's different if you just work at home. Yeah, just participate so in some way, even though it's online, you'll have that certain feels, right? If it makes sense. I hope you get it. For principles of medical technology or principles of medical laboratory science, we do venipuncture techniques to fruits, to vegetables. In our case, we did it on an eggplant or a tomato for venipuncture, and for capillary puncture, we did it on a tomato. I know that it's a different feeling if you do it on that fruit and that vegetable, but somehow the point is just to give you an overview of the step-by-step process of the things or the materials that you use. For me, it's really a different feeling if you do it on real people and if you do it on just a tomato, because I have already extracted someone during my immersion when I was in grade 12. Kind of did venipuncture already, so it's really different if you just do it on a plant. But it's okay since it's online. We don't have any choice because we don't have any supervision to perform that on our sister, our brother. So it's just that they're just giving us the idea of how this techniques work. So my tip for you is when you're having practicals is that you just have to practice until you get it. On the day of the practicals, do not be pressured by the classmates and the professor who's with you. In our case, for practicals, it's live, it's on Zoom. They put us in a breakout room. There would be times that you would be with your classmates, so don't be pressured and just do your thing. And yeah, stay calm. Just stay calm, guys, because in my case, there would be times that my mind will just be really occupied because of nervousness, but don't let that nervousness eat you up. And then know the process by heart, because if you know it by heart, how do I say it? It's like nasanay ka na on how to do it. You know, parang instinct na lang yun ng body mo to get that certain thing kasi nasanay ka na and you know it by heart already. Tip number 5, don't take gen ed subjects or general education subjects for granted. Sometimes people would just say na, gen ed lang yan, di naman yan kailangan. But it's really helpful kasi for first year, there are lots of gen ed subjects and also for second year. And when third year and fourth year comes, it would all be major subjects. So it would be okay if you did better for your gen ed subjects because I think it would pull your grades higher. Also, sometimes gen ed subjects would give you much more requirements than major subjects. So sometimes you would get annoyed na, ano ba to, gen ed subject lang daming pinapagawa kasi sa major. But it's reality. You just have to deal with it, comply with your requirements. Tip number 6 is to always attend classes. So if you have synchronous sessions, listen to your professor and ask questions. They would really appreciate you asking questions if you don't understand them. Or if you're shy, You can just message them on Zoom privately, but it's better if you send it to everyone so that your other classmates would also know what you're asking. Maybe you have the same question, right? When it comes to asynchronous classes, I suggest that you don't take this time to relax or to sleep. Instead, you use this to maximize the time given to you in order for you to accomplish your task. Some professors would be really nice to give asynchronous classes as rest time, but most of the time they would give you some recorded discussions to watch or some task to complete. So just maximize this time so that later on, if you're already done, you can already relax. You can have enough time to sleep. What I do things right away so that I'm already done with it and I have enough time to do things for myself. Like I would have a me time. Asynchronous classes doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything. It doesn't mean that you're free. Tip number 7 is to learn how to accept failure. This is college, guys. We're not in grade school or high school anymore. So this is what I'm really trying to learn, because sometimes I get so down when I get low scores. I get so down when I did not get to the passing mark, but hey, it's okay, right? Grades doesn't define you. So it's important that you use those failure to motivate you. Use this failure to strive harder. In every success, there's always failure that comes with it. You don't just go through a straight path. You have ups and downs. You would have a roller coaster ride. It will not always be high grades, but there will also be low grades. But that failure, you should take it as a lesson. You should take it as a motivation to do better for yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself if you don't get a high mark. Don't stress yourself too much. Don't be down too much if you get a low score, because that wouldn't change anything and it would not be good for you. You will just end up doing nothing because you're sad. You will not be able to be productive because you're sad. My advice for you is, if you have a low score, just look at it. You can be sad for 1 minute and then rise up again. And you also have your friends. What's good about having a support system, having your friends, is that you have someone whom you can talk to, whom you can rant to. And if your friends also have a low score, have someone feels the same way as you. If you know what I mean, like if you have other person who shares the same burden or shares the same feeling as you, somehow magaan siya sa feeling. Step number 8 is don't compete with your blockmates. In this journey, in this college journey, or if you will still pursue medicine in the future, the competition is yourself. Your goal should be to be better, because you don't just study for yourself, right? You study for your future patients. So in the long run, competing with your blockmates will not matter actually. Like, it's okay if it is a healthy competition, if it motivates you to do better, but you know, if you're too focused or too caught up in beating that certain classmate, then it doesn't do you good, because if you did not meet your own expectations, then you'll just feel bad for yourself. You have to focus on yourself. You have to focus on your growth. And lastly, don't forget to rest. We all agree that online classes are draining. Even though we're just at home, it feels really tiring. We have a lot of responsibilities, not only at school, but also at home. And if you also have other responsibilities, don't forget to have a time for yourself. Don't forget to have enough time to sleep. Because if you focused, or if you get too caught up in like just studying and being a workaholic, time will come that your body can't do it anymore and you'll get sick, and it's really difficult to get sick, especially in this time. So you also have to take care of yourself, learn how to do self-love. So yeah, that's all the tips and advice that I can give you, and I hope that you guys learned something from it. I hope everything that I said made sense, and I hope that it will help you in your journey as a college student. If you have any questions related to freshie year or related to being a medtech student, just comment below if you want to know more. Maybe I can make another video for that, or you can just ask me on TikTok. I'm active on that. To everyone who's watching this, to those freshie who's here watching this video, good luck on your college journey. Even though it's online, we're still gonna learn something. So I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. Thanks for watching. Bye!
I wish I could be with you. 같이 걷고 싶어 tell me anywhere 주인공이 될 수 있게 오늘도 너의 톡을 놓게